It's your favorite girl, Enjoli, back with another Chic Life episode. Before we jump into anything, what I need you to do, what I'm asking you to do, is like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If anything or any of the videos resonate with you, feel free to share with all your friends, girl, and tell them to subscribe too, okay? So, we've been going through some different things because my hope with the podcast is to share bits and pieces of my life in hopes that whatever I've gone through and I've overcame, I can share what I've learned, lessons that I've had to go through in hopes to help you on your healing journey too, right? And so, a couple episodes ago, we went over a chapter in my book called Triggered, which is available on Amazon. Triggered, and it's a self help diary story. I tell different stories of my life and I name them in phases. And the first one we went over was Prideful Patty. And so this week, I wanted to hit Numb Natalie. Numb Natalie. That phase, this was quite some time ago in my young adult years, and I had found myself getting to a place to where I was emotionally numb. I was emotionally numb. I had gone through a lot. A lot of you know I was a single mom at one point, and I was just trying to survive. And in midst of my survival, I found myself just not making good choices. Didn't know I wasn't making good choices, and I kept getting hurt back to back to back over and over again, and to the point where it's like I was just kind of over it. Okay, so I wanted to go over this because I found myself lately, and even some of my friends, kind of facing that same sort of phase where you just, instead of kind of going through the feelings, we decide just to kind of suppress the feelings. So um, I learned doing that from like a childhood to adulthood. So it was a practice of emotional numbing that I was in. Hmm. So maybe you all can attest to this too. If you do, just make a comment in the comment section. If you can relate to this, maybe after being hurt so many times, you get tired of crying, you get tired of being depressed, especially when the person or the people that hurt you, it seems like it is so easy for them to move on with their life. It just seems like, they could, I use this phrase often, like dispose of you like trash. Like they get to cause all this damage and get to move on and be happy and free while you're left picking up the broken pieces of your heart. And so after a while, if that happens more than once, you know what I mean? You gonna get tired of crying. You get tired of feeling sad. You're gonna get tired of that feeling of pain and agony. So if you're like me, you decide just to suppress that feeling. It's like how they get to move on. We suppress those feelings and we supposedly get to move on too. Or if you're like me, you might be the strong friend. Are you the strong friend? Type in the comments if you're the strong friend. What I have found in my experience is when you're the strong friend, it feels like, right? Because you have to own your feelings. It feels like people tend to minimize your feelings because it's kind of like, oh, girl, you got it. Or, God got you. Or you always land on your feet. Or you got it together. Like, you all right, girl. Like, girl, shake that off and keep it pushing. But on the other hand, for the other people, you're their dumping ground. You're their garbage pail. They will dump any and every emotion or whatever situation that they're going through on you. You're their shoulder to cry on. You're their source of comfort. You're their source of solace. And you just kind of like, well, dad, can I, I need a hug too. Like, I want to talk about what happened to me and my feelings too, but I'm the strong friend. So, you know, you might just continue to suppress the feelings because if you're like me, when that situation happens, it it almost confirms the lie in your head that nobody cares about your feelings, right? And so if you're feeling me, just type in the comments like, girl, I feel you. Girl, I feel you. So Once I decided that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired, I was getting into therapy. And I just like, whenever they give me any information, I like to kind of look it up myself and, you know, just see what they're talking about, really kind of take a deep dive into things. And so I wanted to take a deeper look about what emotional numbness really is. And so I found a couple of reputable articles that really kind of explained what emotional numbness is. And so I went on healthline.com and it explains it as this. It says that it's a feeling, emotional numb, or feeling no emotions. It can be a symptom of several different things, sometimes medical conditions, right? It creates a sense of emptiness, isolation, or emotional disconnect from the rest of the world. Let me just stop right there. I can account for many times where I would be around friends or family or just people in general, and I felt invisible. Have you ever felt invisible? Like you're around people, everybody's having a good time, and they think you're having a good time too, but it's like you feel like everything around you might just be moving in slow motion and you're just there existing, not connected to anything going on in the room. I definitely can account many times where I felt like that, you know. It says that numbness can be unbearable for many people who experience it. Um, it also said it talks about what it feels like. It can feel like emotional blunting. It can be difficult to imagine it if you haven't experienced it, and that's really true. It says it describes it as feeling emptiness or despondency, while others report feeling isolated. Some feel as though they have no future and there's no hope for the numbness to ever fade. It does seem hopeless. When you're numb and you suppress those feelings, it feels like nothing will ever change, nothing will ever get better. It will just always be like this. You kind of want more, you wish it would be different, but you kind of have succumbed to the feelings you're trying to suppress and believe that lie that it will never be any different than what it is right now. Um, it talks about like how you feel like you're a ghost and you watch everybody around you engaging with each other and you just can't simply relate it. You can't just get into it. Sometimes you zone out, you find yourself just floating into a different world. And so I wanted to know what causes this because I noticed that I started doing that from maybe a young age up until young adulthood. And so it said there are several causes, which, of course, one is stress and stress hormones, PTSD. So, PTSD, what I learned is, post traumatic stress disorder. And people think of that as like, people that are like veterans that have gone to war or things that are like extremely traumatic. But through therapy, I found that anything that was, she said unplanned, but it's kind of like an experience that disturbed your being at that moment is a traumatic experience, which, some of the experiences I thought were normal perhaps were traumatic. And so you can find it with PTSD. It could come from medications that you take, it could come from fatigue, and many other things. And so, what I started to learn through this whole process is that when I was living emotionally numb, it did way more damage than I realized. And frankly, if I were completely honest, like I'm still dealing with the residue of that today, still trying to overcome years of living emotionally numb. Now, most of us, when you do that, like it's a defense mechanism, right? Like you're trying to just suppress the hurt. You don't want to feel the pain anymore. You don't want to feel the agony. You don't want to cry. You don't want to feel this overwhelming sense of sadness. What I didn't realize is when I was suppressing those feelings, when I decided to try to make myself numb, what I didn't realize is that when you do that, it doesn't just target a specific emotion. Like you think you're just like trying to suppress the agony. Well, no, I found that it numbed all of my emotions. It was so hard for me to be happy in a rare happy moment. Like it was hard for me to express happiness when I was feeling happy at that moment. It was hard for me to express excitement when there was an exciting moment happening. Like it was like I physically felt a block from being able to outwardly express these emotions because I thought I was just suppressing the pain. But when it came to the other emotions, I couldn't express it. And people would say to me like, "Oh, you're emotionless or you don't have any emotions." And I'm like, "Well, no, I really do. I don't know how to express it. I feel it and I try to say words to help explain how I feel, but I can't express it because I didn't know I was numbing all of my other emotions, right? Um so when I found that was the case, I literally was just existing. I put on a facade for my kid, like I try to be happy, over exaggerating different things so she could feel that I'm happy, because no kid deserves to, my problems were not her problems, right? But my soul was slowly dying. It was slowly dying. And so after a while, I couldn't hold up that facade anymore. Is that you? Are you at that place right now? I couldn't hold up the facade. My emotional numbness that I thought I was suppressing, right? Right? It would seep out. Like it caused me to be kind of standoffish or abrasive or kind of like having low empathy. But I was still nice though, because deep, like I'm a nice person most of the time, right? And for whatever reason, I don't know why I would be that way because that's not who I truly was. And really, when I kind of sit and think about it, it's like I wonder why no one seemed to care enough to ask me why I was the way that I was. Like I remember getting hugs from people and people say, "Oh, it'll be okay," or "You'll be all right." But nobody ever, and along with the criticism, like, "Girl, you need to stop being so like this," or "Why you act like that," or "Why you got an attitude," or "Why you got this." But I don't recall anybody ever asking me how I felt or how is my heart. Like nobody asked me what was happening, what was going on. Like nobody sat down and really tried to just peel through those layers. And so maybe at the end of the day, going through those different situations, maybe my feelings or, my emotions retreated because I felt like there was no safe space for me. So what do you do? Is that you? Are you feeling like you're numb, you don't feel anything, and now maybe you've gotten to the point where being numb because you were trying to suppress those feelings of pain, perhaps that seeped over into other areas of your life, and now you're kind of just like, I don't even know. Like maybe you just existing right now. Maybe you just trying to get through the day and then wake up tomorrow, get through the next day. Maybe you're just on autopilot, right? But you're putting up a facade like everything's okay, and it's really not. It's truly not. And my question is, are you tired of that yet? If you are tired of that, I want you to listen closely. This is where you grab your pen, grab your notebook, get your notes out, because I'm going to share with you the process I continue to take when it comes to overcoming that emotional numbness. I don't want anybody, any of my sister friends, to be numb Natalies anymore. So the first step I had to take, simple enough, was acknowledgement. It seems like that seems to be the first step with getting over anything, right? The first step to recovery is acknowledging it. Like I had to acknowledge, like after so many people say like, "Oh, you're emotionless," or "You don't have this or that," like, well, what are they talking about? Like then I acknowledge like, man, I do have trouble being happy. I do have trouble expressing excitement. Like I do feel those things. I just don't know how to express it outwardly. So I had to acknowledge that something's not right. and there's something that needs to be fixed. And so the second thing I had to do is have the want and willingness to do the work. I don't know what your thoughts are about healing and that whole journey of things, but healing is ugly. Like people try to make healing, oh my God, you're gonna be so healed when you go through the process, and it's gonna be like you're gonna get so much better and all of these things. And yes, the process is worth it, but my goodness, it's ugly, it's tiresome. You might have to go back in time to some traumatic things that you've experienced, and you got to go through the thing. A lot of us, which while we end up numb, is we try to go around it, we try to avoid it. We don't want to go through those feelings. We don't want to go through the situation. We don't want to navigate through those things and start dissecting why this or why that or why did I make that decision, because it doesn't feel good. It just doesn't feel good, but it's worth it in the end. That's all I can say. Number three is you have to allow yourself to feel the thing we're trying to avoid and learn how to navigate those feelings. All the feels: being angry, being sad, happy, excited, disappointed, all of the feels. You have to allow yourself to go those through those feelings. You have to allow yourself to feel, because how else are you going to learn how to navigate them? You have to let it happen. And let me just be clear. When you're going through this process, because it's a process, it's not an overnight thing, you may have to be vocal with your circle. Whoever's around you the most, you may need to be vocal. I know it was hard for me to express those things because, I shut things down. I don't really express things. And so being married, there's an amount of vulnerability that is necessary on both ends. And it was hard for me to give that because, one, I was just in a pattern over my entire young adult life of living emotionally numb. And so when I started learning, going through those feelings, it was really, really hard. Like you might find yourself like randomly erupting in whatever emotion that is because you've gone so long without feeling it. When you finally do, it don't tell it how it might come out. Like, and thankfully, my husband was, just he walks the journey with me. Like there's no judgment there. I don't feel weird. Like I do feel safe. But it might be a little weird to the people that's closest to you. So definitely be vocal about it. Um, yeah, you got to be okay with that. It's gonna be weird. It's going to it's gonna be weird. That's the best way I could put it. Number four is you gotta be consistent. I struggle with that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Do you struggle with that? Like type in the comments like if you struggle with being consistent in your healing and in your self-care, because truth of the matter is we say it all the time, like practice makes perfect. Like if you want to be good at something, you have to continue to do something over and over to improve your skill, to get better at it. And so this is no different. This is a skill that you have to learn to navigate through these emotions, all of the emotions, and you have to be consistent with doing it. You're going to want to suppress those feelings again. You're going to want to go numb again. Like I've even in recent times experienced it. Like I don't want to that pain, that feeling of, when somebody hurts you or what have you. Like you're going to want to retreat. You're going to want to, nope, I'm not feeling nothing. I'm not going back down that road because for me, I'm like, oh well, I've learned better, so I'm gonna numb myself right now because that's what I said. I literally said this out loud. I'm gonna numb myself and I'll deal with it later. It doesn't work. I took myself out of practice and I had to check myself. I had to hold myself accountable like, no, you need to deal with them feelings now. What have you learned over the years? Okay, so you got to be consistent with it. It's not going to be overnight. It's, in fact, I dare to say, like, this is a lifelong journey. You're going to continue to reach a different level of healing because as you grow, as you elevate, you're going to deal with more things. The better you get, the more stuff come with it, So being in the practice of healing will allow you to navigate those situations a lot better. So, biggest thing is, well, one of the biggest things I would say is if you can't seem to navigate this on your own, girl, find a therapist. Listen, I know a lot of us still may struggle with the idea of telling our business to somebody. You don't want nobody to judge you. You don't want nobody, some stranger, knowing all. Get over that. In fact, I welcome a whole stranger. Like, because I'm going to spill the beans because you don't know me, you don't know nothing about me, but I'm going to give you everything I got because I need the help. I want to be free from this burden of being emotionally numb. So I'm going to give you all I got so you can give me all what you got so I can be better. Find you a therapist. And so then you have to deal with, okay, well, everything costs $1 million. Totally get it. This, however, is worth the cost because what you'll gain from it, money can't buy. Then I also say if you have insurance and you're still not really sure how to go about it, well, most insurances have like customer service or websites, and you can go on there and see which providers take your insurance. Okay, there's ways to navigate around it. And just kind of Google some stuff. There's a lot of different things these days where these different government programs are offering like different hubs of mentorship or therapy just to, I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do because I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, like a little bit. So nonetheless, it's out there. So you don't have to walk this journey alone. The biggest thing of them all, number 6, is pray through the process. Now, for those of you like I'm a believer, regardless of whatever ratchetness seems to seep out, I'm a believer, hands down. And so I think people sometimes get hung up with the idea of prayer because you think you have to be in a certain place. Like, oh, I have to be perfect. Well, no, prayer is communication with God. It doesn't have to be, with a whole bunch of big words or this grandiose sense of, wording. It's literally talking to Him. So talk to him about what's going on. Well, he should already know. Well, he does. But it's no different than having a good friendship or a romantic relationship. Like, nobody wants to be with somebody that only talks to them when they want something, right? Or, when you're talking to someone and you're trying to express the depths of your heart, like you want somebody to listen, right? And so talk to him, pray through the process, and just continue to pray in, out, over, through the whole process. So I hope that was encouraging. I hope that you can start your healing journey because we should be able to feel, and I say we should be able to be present because what I found is emotional numbness took me away from my present, and I missed so many years of just life, maybe lessons that I needed to learn because I was just so emotionally gone. Like I couldn't see. I just functioned. I just dysfunctioned for years. And now I even going through a little bit of a healing journey, like I can feel, like I can appreciate my present time, even the times that aren't, pleasurable. Like I can still be appreciative of my time now. And so I want that for you. So let's take a deep breath and let's go to something a little lighter. I'm bringing back one of the R&B moments because, I say this all the time. I lived through the best era of music, which is the 90s and 2000s. And so I want to bring up a popular song that we probably all know, because if you go back and listen to stuff now, you may find that we probably had no business listening to the music that we were listening to. So the song on the docket is Too Close by Next. So this song was off of their album called Rated Next that was released in 1997. Now, I was 11 then. And I remember this song clear as day. I remember singing it, but going back years later as an adult, listening to it again and being like, is is that what is that what they were saying this whole time? Don't worry about it. We're gonna go through some of the lyrics. Too close. Too close. Baby, when we're grinding. First of all, I don't know what I've been saying all these years, because that's an indication of where this is finna go. But I had no clue. I get so excited. Ooh, how I like it. Well, we grinded. He getting excited. We should have known what was finna happen, right? We didn't. I tried, but I can't find it or fight it. Oh, you're dancing real close. It's real slow. You making it hard for me. Oh my God. I thought it was like hard, like to resist your, I don't know what I thought, but I, it was literal. It was literal. Cause how I know it was literal. Well, oh, the slow song you requested, you dance alike, you naked, you. I remember saying that. Oh, it's almost like we're sexing. Yeah, boo, I like it. No, I can't deny it. But I know you can tell I'm excited. Why didn't we know what was going on? Who let us sing this? Who let us sing this song? Like, what's the girl? Step back, you're dancing kind of close. I feel a little poke coming through. Oh my gosh. A little poke on you? I, I was 11 when this song came out. I remember singing this song just all through my teenage years. What? Y'all know the rest of the song. I'm not even gonna go through the rest of this. I see that you like it like, yeah. I'm not. I'm not going through the rest of, because that was enough. What in the soft porn was happening there? Child, it's too much. It's too much. Anywho, I hope that something was said today to help empower you, to encourage you, to inspire you, and to make you laugh. And as always, I want you to live life, love God, and live chic. I'll talk to you soon.